episode of Mushroom Adventures. Well, I thought about doing lab work or maybe making grain spawn, but I think today we're going to start off doing a batch of pasteurized straw and actually building these nice pretty logs right here. You can see these king oyster logs. They've been growing for 7 days and they're already pretty much fully colonized, but it'll still be at least another week before mushrooms pop out. But we're going to learn today, you're going to learn today how to assemble them with pasteurized straw and colonized grain spawn, which the grain spawn we're going to use is spawn that I've made, but you can always go online and you can purchase your own spawn too. It's a lot more expensive, and you're going to get a lot better results using your own because you're going to probably use rye grain, which most spawn places don't use. So here's our 55-gallon nylon pasteurizer. You can see I have holes drilled on the top. That's going to be for drainage. On the bottom, you see I have a water heater heating element. And now this is the style for a portable water heater, and that way the element goes out and in, and it's a lot more compact. That way when you're using a pitchfork to take the straw out, it's not going to bang it up so bad. But you can see here I have a couple terminal ends. I don't have it grounded. I probably should actually take a screw and actually ground it to the frame up here. That would be a good idea. But I have a very heavy duty extension cord that I have it wired up to with some length, and it'll be plugged into this GFI outlet up here. And you can see where it's had a little bit of a heat stress on it, but it's still alright. So you can see that also this barrel's been flipped upside down, that I'm actually using one of the holes that was one of the cap ends, and I have the other cap end sealed up real nice and tight with some silicone seal in there to make sure it doesn't come unscrewed. I have it all on. It's all on a dolly. Just an old dolly with a one of these lockdown straps, holding it on there real tight a couple times around. And make sure too, if you have one of these dollies, that you have something that's going to keep the top from sliding out when you're pulling on it. That'll give you an accident. So let's add some straw. Well, actually first we're going to add some hot water in here and heat it up to about 160 degrees. Alright, we're filling it up. It's very hot. I'm using the hottest water possible that can come out of the water here. It's turned all the way up. And I think I mentioned before that you always want to be sure to only turn it up when you really need it. Doing this, if you have older folks or some other situation that you don't want somebody getting hurt from scalded water, even yourself if you can't remember you got it that hot. Just give your water heater about an hour to heat up to the right temperature. And also too, I find that even if you have it up all the time, you're going to want to maybe take a shower or do the dishes or something to run the hot water a little bit, because the actual water temperature will drop a little bit before it kicks back on. But you want the temperature to be as hot as possible, and that'll really shorten the time, because your water heater is going to heat the water up considerably faster than one electric water heating element will in this setup. Not to say too that you could also make a barrel that has two heating elements in it to speed up the process. I've heard of people doing that. That's your choice, but this way works fine for me. You can see also that I have a large tarp that's doubled up over. I think, about a few layers. And that's going to help insulate the barrel. I used to use just regular like wall insulation in plastic bags or whatever, and taped up. And that did fine, except that eventually insulation like that will fall apart as you use it more and more and gets roughed up. Tarps too, you can I can rinse it off if I want to clean it and it gets dirty with straw bits and whatnot. So I say using a tarp is really better, and it holds the heat just in fine. You see here too, I have a piece of iron pipe and just some heavy duty ground wire here and here. And you'll see why when we empty the water out, why I have it like this. But for now, we're using the pipe to kind of twist this garden hose around, filling up the barrel here. You know, also too, I decided to use this cheaper, real soft and flexible garden hose for using the hot water. Mainly because, say, you're pulling it out, and you do something accidentally and it starts pouring all over you, you can at least fold it over because it's so soft and shut it off pretty quick. So it's kind of a safety issue. Otherwise, it doesn't get kind of a pain in the ass if it kinks up. So we're going to fill this up, and then we're going to put a plastic bag, just a clear plastic trash bag, over the top, a few layers of plastic to hold the heat in, and then we're going to plug it in. Going to let it cook for about an hour and a half, because the water temperature in it will probably be about 135, 140 degrees once it's full, because we're using a lot of water. We're going to fill it up. I don't know if you can tell, but see this line right here? Oh, now I steamed the lens. Yeah, you see that line down there? We're going to fill the water up to about 2 or 3 inches below that line. And that's a good gauge for you to know how much you want in there. If you're a small person, though, I'm going to tell you, once you put all that water and all that straw in, this thing's going to be heavy to unload. So you might want to think about doing smaller batches and only filling up with so much water. Maybe doing only even a half batch, which you'll have to monitor the temperature, because the way I'm doing it, you just plug it in and let it go. But if you have less water, less material in there, it's going to heat up really fast, and you don't want it to get too hot, over pasteurizing temperatures, which is anything over 180 degrees Fahrenheit. You start killing off the beneficial bacteria that are going to aid your mushrooms to grow through the straw. So we're going to fill this up and get to the point where we dump the straw in. Alright, it's time to check the temperature and see if right at that, at least 160. So we're going to go ahead and unplug so we don't get shocked. Alright, let's see. It'll be hot and steamy, so I use a meat thermometer, and make sure you want to hold on to it. That way, you don't drop it in there, then you have to fish it out with something. But we're going to stick my hand down there, we're going to check it, let's see. You want to make sure that it comes up and stays up there. And it looks like we're about almost, yep, we're exactly at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you can start off at about 160 to 165, but if you're doing the method which I'm going to do, which is leave it plugged in for the entire time that it cooks the straw, then you're going to have to, again, check the temperature to make sure that it doesn't get overcooked. We just don't want the temperature to get over 180. If it starts getting close to it, what you can do is just unplug it for about 15 minutes. Then check the temperature again to make sure it's not going too far down. Plug it back in when you need to. Alright, we're going to take the tarp off here so we don't get all covered in bits of straw. Put that up here on the shelf. Now, also I've turned off the main fan down here, not just for the video, but also that I have the intake running, which is filtering the air. So we're going to create an environment here that's pretty well filtered. Because remember, I said before that I'm actually pulling more air out of the basement, so some of that air is coming from the upstairs. So I got about a full plastic bag of straw here, your garbage bag full of straw, one of the can liners, and we're just going to start working it in. Now you're going to be sure never ever get your hand close to that hot water, because it'll be hot. And you're just going to work it in there from the sides of the bag. Don't try dumping too much. You get some dry straw on the floor, that's alright, you can pick it up off the floor. As long as you've been being good and rinsing your floor and walls down every day. And then see here, once it starts getting to the top, you're going to take one hand and gently push it down a little bit. So it pushes down the pile in there, gets submerged. But you don't want to push it down far enough to the point where your hand's going to hit that hot water coming up through the straw. Kind of give it a shuffle, pack it down on the front side, back side, get it there even. Remember too that you have a water heater element at the bottom of this, so you don't want to pack it down so hard that you're going to start bending the element and putting too much pressure on it. But you can put quite a bit of pressure, as long as it's just one hand of weight, you're alright. And take the rest of it in the bag and hang it in there. You can help use the bag to push it down too. That'll help keep the hot water out of there. So that was one whole bag. I'm going to add a little bit more too. Probably about a sixth or a fifth of another bag. Just to max it out. Alright, that's plenty. Alright, kind of get it all in there. Again, try to pack it down a little bit best you can. Then I got just a kind of a section of old window screen that I've been using it for this over and over and over again. Put that down. Now I got 2 concrete blocks, these small styles with the holes in them. And this is just some straw baling twine. It's nice and sturdy. You want to make sure you have 2 ends tied. That way you can pick it up. So you want to kind of get it in there, keep it on top evenly of the screen. There. Make sure the ends stick out of the barrel. That's how you're going to pull out the blocks after they get very hot from cooking. We got another one to get the other side in there. Just gonna work it to the back. Make sure that, double check to make sure these are outside the barrel. And then use your hands and see if there's any straw on the kind of towards the back side where you push the barrels up against, or the blocks up against it, kind of wedge it up. Kind of get it down there. You start feeling your fingers getting hot, you can stop. And then you're gonna take your hands and push down on the blocks just till the water starts coming up over. Not to the point where it touches you, just as it starts coming up. Get a little more dry stuff. Alright, then you're still going to want your water as hot as you can for this part. You're going to let it run a little bit and down your drain. You get all the cold water out of the line and it gets real hot. Alright, that's good. And then you're going to rinse the outside of the barrel. Don't want to do it too much. I'm going to step around here. Make sure you don't get any on you, and you want to kind of like get the top of the